I have numerous guests that come on the show, and I'm always trying to, make sure that I commit their names to memory. And we had a guest on the show by the name of Thompson on Monday, Alan Thompson, and I was trying not to confuse him with Keith Thompson, who's a regular guest from Idaho State Police. Our guest in this segment of the program, Anthony Tomkins. You know how I committed your name to memory?
Yeah, I see that.
Uh, Tompkins County, New York, was not far from where I grew up.
Ah,
So I always, and I was often there covering stories when I was a young reporter, and I would go to Ithaca, which is the big city there.
okay.
Calling it a big city might be a bit of an exaggeration. So was familiar with the name, and when you first left me a message a few weeks ago, it was like instant
Okay.
recognition because of that. And that was named after a very famous guy too, I guess, at
Same
one time.
spelling?
Same spelling. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But we want to welcome you to the program, first of all.
All right.
He's our guest in this segment of the program on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story. Anthony is a candidate for House of Representatives, U.S. House of Representatives, and he plans to challenge Mike Simpson, the 800-pound gorilla in Idaho politics. A lot of people have said they're going to challenge Mike Simpson. You're looking at doing this not in a regular manner, in the sense you're not running as a Republican or a Democrat. You're planning to do this as an independent.
That is absolutely correct. So I came to the decision. I late December I started considering doing this run, and I'm in no position politically or otherwise to do any of this stuff. I have no experience with the political realm. I think I even lost the school election for student body secretary in my freshman year. But I decided that Idaho, we were getting to, there's a lot of people frustrated with Mike Simpson. You had mentioned earlier on your program
Mhm.
Janice McGeegan and some other names and everything of people who've tried to have just mentioned running but just couldn't commit to it. And I decided, well, I'll put my name out there. I'll put my neck out there.
Why do it as an independent though? Because if you were running on a larger party ticket, wouldn't there be more assistance for you in that effort?
You're absolutely right on that. Um, the a couple of reasons that I chose to do the independent ticket is one because I believe that uh, when people right now, we can tell by the presidential campaigns, are angry with the establishment, and when they see the D or the R, they automatically reference that to the establishment. So I wanted to give Idahoans a choice that they could recognize that this guy isn't a D or an R. He is Anthony Tompkins. He is going to represent Idaho. He's not going to represent the Republican Party. He's not going to represent the Democrat Party, the Constitution Party, Libertarian Party, or the four recognized parties in Idaho. He's going to represent me. He's going to represent my community. He's going to represent the Idaho 2nd Congressional District. And then the other reason, um, and I'm pretty sure you've had a chance to look me up a little bit,
Mhm.
and those who know me know that I have principles that align very, very closely, if not exactly, with a lot of Republican values. And I know that if I chose to run on the Republican ticket, especially with my lack of influence, lack of uh, just name recognition, like you were mentioning earlier, uh, I would more than likely fail in the primary, just like Brian Smith did back in 2014. So, and he had a lot of support from even outside groups from outside the state of Idaho, and he still did very. I don't want to be mean, but he did miserably in that primary election.
The thing you need to do, of course, you have gathered the required signatures and then some. Obviously, the other side or somebody then will try to challenge your signatures.
hmm
So you've got to at least get that and make sure that 240 of them are valid.
So it's actually 500 that I'll have to get
500.
for any independent running for the House seat. I'll explain it just real briefly. So, if a recognized party in the state of Idaho is running, it's either the 500 signatures or a $300 filing fee. And I mentioned those four parties earlier. So, since I'm running as an independent, I have to have the 500 signatures. I can't get a buy with a $300 filing fee. So, I'm still collecting
You're
those.
240 away.
240 away, exactly.
And how do you go about getting those?
Um, so I've gone door to door just to people's homes, if any of them are listening, and they know that already. And then lot of folks probably saw me at the Home and Garden Show. While I was there, I actually collected 222 of my signatures. Really good turnout there. Absolutely
It was a
wonderful.
good idea.
Yeah, and a lot of people got to see someone local, someone you know from the community, because I'm from the Twin Falls area, and it was great just talking with people and everything. It was a really good opportunity there. But um, as far as going from here on, I would meet with anybody. I've even posted on my Facebook page, "Hey, if you know of anybody who wants to talk to me, I don't care. I will come to their house."
I would imagine that if you started going door to door from here to Rupert, for instance, you would fill out the numbers and then some. And if you
Yeah.
went into even Pocatello, you would be able to do that. Um,
Yep.
you got to remember that once you get to Pocatello, that really starts to be that area where he is most powerful. And because of the nature of the district, it's so split up with different cities and the like. You've got a challenge there too as well. You're going to have to go into the belly of the beast at some point to try to pry votes away from him in places like Idaho Falls.
Oh, and you're absolutely right. I I've decided that I'm going to build up the most of my base in the Twin Falls area because this is the area where I bet I feel very disconnected because of our remoteness from the eastern side of the state. And I don't know how the folks in Boise feel necessarily. I mean, majority of them probably feel that because a small portion of the Idaho Second Congressional District covers downtown Boise, and I could, if I got a map out, I could show you the exact streets, but it's a very small portion of Ada County, and I bet a lot of them feel just as disconnected from the eastern side of the state where a lot of that representation is coming from, like you said. And I decided I'm going to build up my base in this area and then just slowly attack that. I don't want to say attack because I'm not attacking. I'm going to be going and inviting people, but I'm going to slowly go into that area and talk with people and get some support over there. And I even actually have a little bit of support from some of the folks in that area. They've contacted me and have kind of told me about their excitement for the campaign. So
914 and Anthony Tomkins is our guest on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. It's 31. Bill Colley with you on Top Story this morning. For people who'd like to know more about you, I assume your website is up and running. I mean, you're of that age group where you're a bit more technically savvy than I would be.
yes, so anybody can go to my website. It's www.anthonytompkins.com. And like we were mentioning earlier about the spelling, Tompkins is spelled Tomkins. And you can also visit my Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com slash Anthony Tompkins for Idaho. And that's the word for, not the number four. So,
And so FOR, right?
yeah,
Okay.
FOR.
And for people who don't know a little bit about your background, obviously you spent a lot of time in this area.
Oh, yeah. I was born at the old Magic Valley Regional Medical Center. Um, at that time, my parents were living in the Richfield area. They eventually moved into the Jerome area, and then around the third grade, my family moved to the Buell area, where my mom's family is all from. They've been there since I want to say the late 30s, if not earlier than that.
What's her maiden name? People might recognize that.
Um, my mom's maiden name is Janes, Jaynes, and the Hunt family is pretty big over there too. A lot of people know them. So,
And then, so you grew up in that area,
yep.
and then what transpired in your life between now or then and now?
Well, I eventually graduated from Buell High School, and then and now that I mention this, I got to throw out my disclaimer real quick. um, I am a member of the United States Army Reserve, and any experience, uh, rank, or job titles that I share does not imply an endorsement by the Department of Defense or the Department of the Army.
Right,
Now that
right.
I got that out of the way, I can go on to my next stage of life. When I joined the United States Army Reserves, I went to basic training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, went to training on the East Coast. Wonderful over there. I really enjoyed that. Learned how to become a generator mechanic, and I've been with the Army Reserves. That was in 2006, and I've been with them ever since. And I'm currently serving as a sergeant in uh, different position now. I'm now a fueler, but uh, still currently serving with them. Really enjoy that. So.
And you've been very busy in business wise too, as well.
I've done a couple different things. My family has a local business in the area doing security guard and patrol, uh, and I helped manage part of that at one time and help them with some of their marketing and stuff. I recently resigned from that. Um, we even had a business where we were trying to do green energy technology with gasification technology and stuff like that. And on the same token, I resigned from that just to, well, because I'm going to be very busy with the campaign, so
I
I'm
was
not
going
going
to
to have
say
too much time.
energy issues though might come up during the course of the campaign, and you got a little
Yeah.
background. Have you heard any sort of scuttlebutt from the other side? From do you think that I don't know that Mike Simpson's at this point worried about anyone. It's still
Yeah.
early in the process, but have you had any past connect or communication with him or conversations or?
I've never met him. I've never spoke with him. I've always respected the gentleman. I even did a research paper in my senior year of high school on him because I thought real highly of the gentleman, and I've voted for him a couple different times because I was really impressed with what he was doing up until, well, a couple different things happened. One, it seems like he's changed some of the things that he's been doing, um, voting more, voting for more spending, using federal dollars to fund different projects, Cash for Clunkers, Amtrak, stuff like that. Uh, Things that, I mean, they don't have. I don't agree with it, and I feel that a lot of other folks here in Idaho don't agree with that, especially the Amtrak. We have in our area, we haven't had an Amtrak station since I had it written down on my desk, May 11th of 1997.
Probably would have been what in Shoshone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have a short break coming up. I know some folks want to talk to you. I've got some people trying to dial in.
Oh, cool.
What we'll do is we'll have you stick around a few more minutes
Yeah.
and answer any questions people may have. Anthony Tomkins is our guest right now on News Radio 1310 KLIX and News Radio 1310.com. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story. And if you'd like to get in touch with him in the next few minutes, he's an independent candidate running for U.S. Congress, plans to challenge Mike Simpson. More details on the way in just a few minutes. Just a quick note, I've got a guest in studio named Anthony Tomkins, and if you have a question or comment for Anthony, feel free to give us a call at 736-0300. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX and News Radio 1310.com. Telephone number 736-0300, 736-0300. Anthony is running as his goal is to be an independent challenger to Republican Mike Simpson in this year's election for Congress in our home district. It's 9:24 and 31 right now. And again, if you've got a question or comment for Anthony, 736-0300. And I do want to mention, if I could, quickly in this segment of the show, because I want to just give a little plug in here for our friends at Dream Room Design. They build sunrooms. Enjoy your deck or patio with no bees, mosquitoes, wind, dust, and blowing rain and snow. You have usable space year-round. Operable windows with screens create a flow of air when you want it, and of course when you need it, and you can close those to protect you from outside elements. Each room is designed and engineered for your specific conditions. Dream Room Design specializes in building sunrooms, patio enclosures with many different styles to choose from. The sunrooms can have glass or solid roofs or a combination of both. And also, you can enclose an existing covered deck or patio, converting it into a beautiful enclosed sunroom. Check them out at dreamroomdesign.com. That's dreamroomdesign.com. And Anthony, we have a caller looking to join
All
us.
right.
A caller, you're on the air with Anthony Tompkins.
Good morning, Anthony. I'm so glad to hear that somebody's running against Simpson. I did vote for Brian last time, but I also wrote to him several times at the beginning of his campaign where I think he really went the wrong direction. And he started his campaign and everything calling Mike a bunch of names. They were correct names, but names none the same. And it really turned off a lot of people that I talked to. It didn't help that he was a lawyer either. But just remember, try to keep it clean, keep it principled, and as long as you tell people that, and we can trust you that you will do what we the people want, not what the established wants, I think you'll do fine.
Want to thank him for the call.
Yeah, thank you. And just kind of go on that. I've got really nothing to lose. I work as a copier technician right now, so not a lawyer, by the way. And I agree with you.
Honorable work.
Yeah.
We have
But
another caller with us. We'll take the caller, Anthony, and you're on the air with a candidate at 926.
Good morning. Could you please tell us what's your platform? What do you intend to do? Not just criticize the other guy and what he's done wrong. I mean, we hear that every day. Can you tell us what specifics would you do once if you happen to get elected? What would you do? What would be the difference that you'd make? Would you work across the aisle, or would you be same as partisan as Labrador and all of them that are just seeking to, with the biggest donors, be their left arm? Are you going to make something different?
Are you going to be a liberal, in other words? I don't know, but go ahead.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I owe nobody nothing. I hope that's not a double negative, but I don't owe a thing to anybody. I mean, I have a mortgage and a car payment, but besides that, nobody's come to me. Nobody is propping me up on this. I mean, you can look at the Federal Election Commission stuff, and it doesn't look real good for me. But I want to represent the people of Idaho. I want to represent the values that we hold dear. Second Amendment, things on abortion, because I believe that most Idahoans believe
pro-life. You're pro-life.
I don't like to use titles, but yes, I believe life begins at conception, because I don't like to use the titles because a lot of people they say they're pro-life, and then there's this condition and that condition, but yes, I would be pro-life. I believe that the state should have more power on the local level than the federal government. So I believe in state sovereignty, I guess is the term. I believe in the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. I will not support blanket amnesty, and I believe in doing what we can to increase our border security. I mean, the laws are probably already on the books, but anything we can do to get that taken care of. At the same time, I don't believe that we can afford to do mass deportation. It's just so many. The Department of Homeland Defense estimates over 11 million people in the country that are here without the proper visas and everything else, or illegal immigrants. And just that many people, trying to get them back home, it costs way too much money to do mass deportation. But as far as amnesty, I do not agree with that. And I don't agree with the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. A lot of people know that as Obamacare. I believe that it put too much power in the federal government and not enough power with the patient and their doctor. So you got to.
We want to thank Anthony for dropping by today. Quickly, one more time on the website for people if they'd like to take a look.
Yeah, it's www.anthonytomkins.com, and the Facebook page is www.facebook.com/Anthony Tomkins for Idaho. And if you just search for Anthony Tomkins on Facebook, you should be able to find it.
We'll likely talk to you again once you collect those few hundred extra signatures.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And that way we can kind of fish and see if we can get Mike Simpson to come on the program too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and people can actually maybe question him for a change. Want to say thank you, and we'll see you again.
Yep. Thanks, Bill.
It's 9:30. It's 32. You're listening to Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and News Radio 1310.com.